Hi, welcome back to my video series Stop Pulling and Basic Leash Techniques. This is red light, green light. A lot of people will know it, or at least versions of it. It can be called a dozen different things. It's recommended all the time, and it's unfortunate that a lot of times when it's recommended, either the people recommending it don't understand the limitations of the technique or don't understand dog behavior, or simply haven't taken the time to find out the age or the history of the dog. It's a great technique, but it's very limited and only will work with puppies. Once you have a dog with an established pulling pattern, it simply won't work. So for older adolescent dogs, dogs with established pulling patterns, this technique won't work. For them, it's a game, and so they'll just keep pulling. And they'll treat it as a game, and the person that's trying to get their dog right will fail, and the risk there is people give up. So be very careful when you're recommending techniques that you're recommending them for the right, the right techniques for the right problem. So you need some background information of why, you need, the age of the dog, how long it's been pulling. All these things can make a huge difference. Red light, green light works. But for puppies, for anything else with established pulling patterns, it's absolutely no good. It can often make the problem worse. And like I said, when you start recommending techniques to people and they've got a problem with the dog, pulling is a horrible thing to have. It makes life miserable trying to get out with the dog. And if it doesn't work and it fails, then what often happens is people either put up with it, and life is pretty horrible every time they want to get out with their dog. They give up, so the dog just ends up in the backyard. Or even worse, they give up totally on the dog and it ends up in a shelter, and can end up dead from there as well. So you're condemning a dog or a breed when you start putting limitations on them, but it's just as bad when you recommend the wrong techniques. So it's important that people understand that, and it's also important that you understand that not every technique is going to work for a dog. But you don't want to be teaching techniques that you already know won't work for a specific problem. So that's super important. Other than that, this is a very simple technique. Red is stop, green is go. So the basic principle is whenever the lead is loose, that's a green light, you walk. Whenever the lead becomes taut, and I don't mean that it's out there pulling you, you want to get to it before that. As soon as the lead goes from loose to taut, you stop. Keep your hands close to your body. Don't have your hands out here because the dog's got too much pulling power. Keep your hands here. You immediately stop and you wait for the dog to release that pressure. If you've done the pressure and release, that should happen pretty much immediately. That's why it's important not to skip steps. If you've done pressure and release, the dog will get to the end, the pressure will go, the dog will release it. As soon as he releases the pressure, I go again. I'm not treating, I'm not saying yes and marking it, because it's already been done. The dog understands pressure and release. I'm now doing it moving. I'm doing it with more distractions. This is still in the backyard. The dog's not ready to take out there, and that's another mistake people make, and why there's so many problems with walking a dog. People get a dog, throw a collar and lead on it, and go, whoopee, look at me, world, I've got a pretty little puppy. And that just creates massive problems. All right, so we're still in the backyard because your dog is not ready for the big old wide world, and you're just going to create problems. This technique's really simple. Green, loose lead, green light. Just go. Go. And this is a problem when a dog's already trained, is getting him off. Off you go, free. There, good. And you can see that there. I got him out. As soon as it went tight, he's jumped back. And that's what I want. And then we go again. Green light, green light, green light, green light, all the way. And I don't care if he's beside me or in front of me. This is about loose leash walking. And this is all I want. Loose leash, so it's green all the way. Okay, free. As soon as it's tight, bang, there. As soon as you saw that, as soon as it becomes that, he's back. He's not even getting to the point where it's pulling me or being any real pressure. He's responding as soon as it gets to there, and that's what you're looking for. And as soon as that happens, you stop. And as soon as he gives you loose leash, we go. Green light, red light. Alright, so it's really that simple. It's going to be a bit harder for you when you've got an untrained dog. He was a nightmare to start with. He's part wild, so he was schizo to start with. But you just got to be consistent. It'll be much harder than it's looking here, of course, because he's trained. But you also saw what you'll get with a dog. You stop, you walk backwards, you go forward. The dog just sticks to your leg. Can be painful at times when you're trying to teach something, but you get the general idea. And then you saw as soon as he goes out, I stop. This starts to go taut, he comes back. That's why that pressure and release one earlier on in the series is deadly important, to train the dog the hell out of it. Right, so as soon as this gets to here, the dog's response is just to step back and take that pressure off. It becomes a very natural occurrence to a dog if you teach it right. Alright, I hope that helps. We'll see you in the next one.